So let's call to order the meeting for the Historic District Commission. It's a special meeting called for August 2nd, 2022. And let's start by saying the Pledge of Allegiance. Oh. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll do the roll call, and also we'd like to welcome our newest member to the Historic District Commission. So I am Betsy Lackey, Chair, and next to me is
Maya Gangadaran. GANGADHARAN.
And I sent out the minutes from the last meeting for everyone. Do I have a vote for and thank you. Thank you. And a second?
I second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great. Do we have any communications at this point in time? No, I don't think so. Okay, so the first item on the agenda is a certificate of appropriateness for 463 State Street. 463 State Street installed a sliding glass door. They did not go for a building permit ahead of time. So the door is now installed. And they are planning on putting a fence around it and then building a stair and a patio at the base of it. And this is on the north side of the house, and it is visible from the street. So the homeowners here, do you want to speak to us about anything or have anything to say?
I guess we didn't, there's a neighbor near us that has the same door. We just didn't realize that we needed to. We were never given a handbook when we moved into the house. We were never given direction as to where to go to ask for certain things. I know my husband ran colors off of Clark, like asked once, we're going to paint our house. Is there a limit? We were told, no, but obviously we're not going to paint it like rainbow stripes, but well, really have a direction. So there's a window there previously.
But was the window the same size as the door?
No.
So no matter what, when you change the size or shape of a opening into the house, you have to go for a building permit. And I guess you did not go for the building permit?
We didn't know we had to do that if it was our own doing. So
well, did you put it in, did you install it yourself?
Yes.
So you didn't hire anyone to do it?
No.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, that's the bigger issue is that whenever you're doing something with your house, am I right with what I'm saying? Yes. That if you, I mean, if it's one thing if you were, let's say you decided you want to change out your front door, and it's exactly the same size, generally speaking, you wouldn't go for a building permit for that. But whenever you are changing the size of any window in any house in the city, then you would have to go for a building permit. And so that's part of the problem. If you had done that, then they would have immediately told you had to come to us for approval.
Initially, we did want, so the wall that the door is on, there's a window on this wall.
Yeah, can you come and speak here because it's being recorded. I know. Yeah, trust me, we all feel the same way. It's being recorded. So if you could speak there, that'd be great.
My mom, sent me to you to learn how to speak. It didn't go so well.
You did good. No, you're doing great.
So initially this was years ago. I was like, oh, we can put a door here. This will be great. I never go out there like that specific part of the house. Well, my AC unit is right there. So you can't really do the door thing into the AC unit.
The other thing was, as far as door selection, you know, we did have a friend that came in and helped us like measure and, you know, not make things crooked. And he said in order, because we don't want a deck, you know, obviously lumber is extremely expensive right now. We don't want more things for kids to trip over. We just set a kid's arm at an orthopedic doctor today. Like, so we're going to do a patio. I also know that's a little more along the lines of the home age and, you know, tradition. But you have to have a platform in order to have doors that open. So that hence the sliding door.
Unless the door is open from the inside.
But we don't have room for that because we have 7 kids and the table that we need to accommodate them is like the Knights of the Round Table long, like huge. So it literally fills, you know, the room with limited space. Because ideally I did want like a French door type deal. That was what. So that's where I mean, and the reason we're doing this primarily is because on Michigan behind us, the house behind us is horrendous. I don't particularly want to lounge in my backyard and look that direction. It just functionality wise, it makes more sense to put it there to get out. We have a dog. It's hard to get them in and out. We currently have to go through our kitchen, through our mudroom, through our garage to get the dog in and out, to get the kids in and out. So,
Well, all of what you say is good and worthwhile. So now we have to figure out what to do to make it look historic. Am I right? Yes?
I would just. I'm sorry that you didn't pull a permit because that would have triggered a whole series of things and you'd have a chance to talk to us before you did any work. We just in the last month or so adopted the standards from Ann Arbor for historic districts. And so we're going to have to go by the standards that are published in there. They're the ones that.
right. And I did get word of that. So I had actually too late read them. So
Yeah.
I did
and-
read all 131 pages of the PDF.
Yeah,
file.
and on pages 3-10 and 3-11 are where they discuss
I
the
think I have
issues at
this
hand.
saved in my,
So 3-11 is design guidelines for windows. And in here it says changing the number, location, the size and glazing patterns of windows by cutting new openings, blocking in and installing replacement sash, which does not fit the historic opening, that's considered to be not appropriate. It's specifically a bullet point here that, so cutting a bigger opening is just not appropriate. We would not have been able to permit that anyway, going back. And then on the following page, also considered not appropriate for wood siding, trim, and architectural details is introducing new elements that were not part of the historic building. So that would include a large window that was never there. So for 2 reasons, we're not going to be able to permit this. If for some reason other members of this committee want to think differently about it, you know, in terms of like Betsy suggesting maybe a different kind of a window would be appropriate, but for me, I can't. Given that we've adopted these guidelines, it's just not possible.
well, obviously wasn't done in the right
Order.
steps, but like
Mhm.
now what do we have a hole in our wall?
I know, I don't know what to say about that.
Because that will be
I'm not a
basic,
builder, so I can't address that. I'm an architectural historian.
right? But we also have people that have to fund that, like, because it will be plywood, because I'm counting, like, I'm doing things in my house, but I also have kids that are kind of my priority, so.
And again, that would be putting things there that didn't exist originally. That would be against our guidelines and you would be tagged for that as well. So changing from the siding you had into plywood would be against our code as well.
So we're gonna go and not, people are the town, people, the families are what makes those houses years ago.
I understand that, but
I
there
don't
are
think
reasons
you
it's a
do.
historic district. There are other neighborhoods where you can do whatever you want.
One of the things that a lot of people don't realize is that when we're not neighbors saying, don't do this. Because we are a historic district, we're on the National Register, which means that we are part of the national parks. And so in a sense, the same elements that, you know, that say, don't, you know,
Mhm.
put graffiti on Yosemite are the same kinds of things that are on these properties. Because we are listed as part of the the historic houses throughout the United States and are considered part of the National Parks and the Service. And so that's part of the problem. And for years, in the beginning, a whole bunch of us moved into the neighborhood right at the time that it became a historic district. So we all knew what everything was. And we all were very careful and we all talked to each other. And then the recession hit, nobody bought any houses and nobody was doing anything. Now suddenly people are coming in and they're looking at these homes again and they go, oh, well, there's value, you know, and so we've been scrambling to get all this information out to everyone.
Out of curiosity though, like I know you said if we would have gone and done what we were supposed to do that we weren't unaware of, we would have then encountered you because that would have been the next step, right? But there's other things, and tell me if I'm wrong, but would not necessarily need a permit that would be technically going against all of the, not all, but like certain things that are need to be historic or would be changing and going against the guidelines.
Such
My
as-
point is,
Such as what?
just like painting details or little
We
things.
don't control color. So you can paint your house a rainbow if you want to.
Well, you can't change, I could change my window, like say I had a window that had the panes and all that in there, not the rounded top. But I could switch it out to a complete window,
No, you'd have to come to us as well to make sure. it
but that
fits
would not require a permit for building.
It would because it's the historic district.
Normally is what I'm saying to you. If I did not live in the historic district, I could switch. So where are the guidelines for that? Who tells me all of a sudden? Because if I go from a neighborhood on Maple Avenue, that's just a regular run-of-the-mill neighborhood. And I'm like, oh, well, I just had to switch my window. Then I move over to State Street and I'm like, oh, well, I have to switch my window. That is where, and I see what you're saying is you have to get the point, you have to get these people in the know. And I realized ours was a door and I do apologize for that. But that is where you guys are not communicating with people.
Yeah, that's the city's issue. It's not this committee. We've been working with the city to improve communication with the neighborhood and with everybody in the city.
So we have had a lot of meetings lately where we've been talking about exactly the same thing because we recognize, and you're not the first person to say this to us. A couple of years ago, when the housing prices were lower and everything, there was a bunch of people that suddenly came into the neighborhood that wanted to flip the houses. And so they, you know, they were coming in and they figured they were going to fix a little few things up and then flip them. And we had to say, yeah, but you cannot. And so we understand where you're coming from. But it is, I don't know when you started this work.
It's
But
been
this has been-
ongoing and it was brought to my attention that it was reported from a member of the committee. I saw them physically staring at me and the next day I had an inspector at my door, which I feel we're very approachable people. I might not seem so right now. I have horrible anxiety and
No.
I'm very
you don't,
frustrated.
You know, I'm sorry that happened to you the way that it did.
it makes it very unwelcoming. I'm not a member of this committee, but it's a neighborhood. And it feels, especially, you feel very cold. And I know that you're official and that's your job, but I have a family and I want to make my house look nice and I don't want to make it look stupid or unofficial. And I did my best and we didn't do it right. But this feels like you're like, oh, wow, our book says, who cares if your kid can get outside? Our book says this. If my kids aren't grown up and kids don't grow, no one's going to be around to take care of those houses because we teach ours that they're important and there's history there and they need to maintain it. You could get somebody that's going to buy it and rent it and they won't change your architecture, but somebody will destroy it. We have neighbors across the street that OD'd the first week we bought the house, but we stayed there because we know we have good neighbors. We have other good neighbors that were there built on in families with values.
I hear you.
And now I really
We're-
just want to
we're-
move.
We're sympathetic to
You're
your
not.
situation. There's not much we can do. Our hands are tied is what I'm explaining to you. Just this past month, we adopted these guidelines.
Well, it's been 2 months, actually.
2 months we've had these guidelines. So,
And we were told never.
well, everything
live
the
there.
city does is public. Is
Okay,
notified
but
publicly.
I
That
would,
does- And the historic district's been there for 50 years. I'm 60 years old. When I was 10 years old, somebody created this historic, or
I
15 or
apologize for
something.
being around
they
raising my
created the
family.
historic district. It's been there a long, long time. And because we didn't want any confusion over what our standards were, we published them. And this is a proactive way of communicating with the public about how we're going to be making our decisions, so it's not arbitrary. And that we treat everybody the same and that we're fair to everybody.
Like robots.
Because our job as a committee is not to make it an unwelcoming neighborhood. That's not our goal. Our goal is to preserve the historic character of the city of Adrian because we believe it's an asset that will bring industry, that will bring people who want to live and work. at
My
the city.
family is an asset and now it's going to relocate itself.
You
So
also need to know
You are.
that the other
I do
reason,
agree.
you also need to know that one of the reasons why we did the historic district is because it was beginning to be all apartments and rentals, like the house across the street from you. And by changing it over to historic district, we were able to then bring up the integrity of it so that most of the houses today are taken care of. The house just 2 doors down from you on the right side was 6 apartments in the 70s. The house next door to you could have become that.
the
But-
white one.
And so that's part of the reason why we put the historic district into place when we did. When I bought my house on Dennis Street, it was literally a 9-apartment ghetto. So we've been trying to build up the integrity and keep it.
I recall
So-
your house from the 90s.
Right. Yeah, right. So, and, you know, so we are all trying to work on that. I guess the other thing that I'm concerned about is I don't know anything about the building codes for the fence that you're trying to, that you want to
Fence,
put
they
in.
told us all through the city, because I asked if we had to bring that up here. And he said that was through the city.
Right.
completely.
So, but I'm looking at how you drew it. And I'm concerned that about that part of it. And that might be another thing that we need to look at. I don't know how tall a fence can they put in? 5 foot, 6 foot?
We didn't want the way the window goes on the hot neighbor. We didn't want to be like,
Yeah.
hey, look, this is our
We
property
would've- yeah, we
line.
would've went all the way to
Here's
the
our
property
fence.
line.
We're gonna be a jerk. Like, we were trying to
I
like,
know, I understood all that. But what I'm getting at is that is it,
On the right page, there's appropriate fence. On the right page. Appropriate.
for the front. But there are throughout the whole neighborhood on the back, towards the
These are
back.
our new standards. that we've
Is,
set.
okay, so my question to you
Should
is,
be 3 feet in the front.
but this is
max.
not on the front, this would be attached to the side of the house, not in the front, am I right?
Not in front of the house, no, it's
No, it would
sitting
be-
far
it would
back.
Well, read what's appropriate there.
All right. Okay, so it says installing fences or walls over 3 feet high in the height in the front and over 6 feet high in the back is not appropriate. So the city ordinance says for a back fence, it's 6 feet, right? And this also says it can't be higher than 6 feet.
we will do whatever we need. I mean, whatever we have to. I'm not gonna, that's kind of why we stopped, because we were still gonna, but I'm not.
So if the 6 foot fence is there, we would still be able to see the opening when we. How big was the window that you took out?
The window is gone. The
I know, how big was it?
The opening.
opening. I can't compare it to one of these windows.
Did you measure? I mean,
It was like they had taken it out. Only thing we found was the thing that
The-
said, it must have been I don't know if there's a
framing of the-
header or the wind.
Right.
Said
Framing of the window.
it had really fancy writing. I mean, that was probably that
Probably need to-
wide.
Wide.
So it was, how long was it? It was probably like,
because knowing how big the old window was,
I mean, it went up about as high as the door.
No,
Like,
I'm
it was
sure-
up high,
I'm sure it did,
but
but knowing how big the window was would be helpful in this situation. Because then we might, then knowing what the opening was,
Mhm.
there might be a way of adjusting everything so that it appears to be similar to what it was. Do you see what I
With
mean?
not being able to see the bottom half of the door because of the fence or.
You're
Right, we're
saying
not
a
just-
single door that looks like a window is, I think. Like, so
It-
the top of it would be like what you would see if it was a window.
Right, it would be, right. See, because the window itself would have been seen over the fence.
Yes,
Right.
What if,
What we need to know is what the old window size was. We want to make.
what if
I
there was
wanna
a
make this work.
canopy and this could be off? But like, you're coming down the street, you see the fence, there's a little bit of the door you see. What about one of the kind of, I guess, a canopy is
Like
a
an
correct-
awning?
Awning.
That's also in our code.
No, no, no.
I've just thrown it out, there, but
I mean, if I had to guess, I mean, the size of the window is probably, I mean, roughly about the same size as the door.
That's
no,
what we
is it-
need to
it was
know.
not as
Do-
wide as the
what happened-
door.
What happened to the window when you took it out?
We didn't take out the window. The window was not, it was, there had been a window there. We
was a
know
framing
it
of the
said
window.
dining room window. Because we had plaster damage and we were trying, like, going in to fix it, and then we're like, we stopped. We have a lot of stop and go projects going on. Wallpaper, paint, lots of stuff.
So you don't know when the window was there and when it had been taken out?
by
I'm
the
gonna
writing,
go,
you
it
can
was
see the
there
framing,
old
it's-
because
it
it
was
was
very-
like the W, I actually somewhere have a picture because I thought it was the coolest handwriting I've ever seen. And nobody writes in cursive anymore, but
So,
Can I make a comment?
yes,
I am going to abstain from any
Right.
of this because I talk to Ruben daily, almost.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna vote, but on the other hand, just as a compromise, I was wondering if perhaps it might be possible to allow a French door to be put in there. It's more historical, would look better, and it would, it's kind of a compromise. I know nothing's gonna
But it
make
can't
everybody
open it.
happy.
I mean, I'll adjust something if
but-
we can
but
do
it
that.
might-
I'll make a
it
kid
might-
sit in the kitchen. I don't know.
It's in the spirit of. Thank you.
well, I mean, the point is there's a hole in your house right now.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's the big thing. There's a hole in your house. You know, that's what I'm concerned about is there's a hole in
Well,
your
when the
house.
door arrived, the door was originally damaged and I had to talk to Lowe's and say, there's a hole in my house. Like, what do
How
I'm
about
looking
this?
for that piece of wood in the
Um,
pictures.
How about if, first of all, you talk to the city about exactly how that fence that you want to build is going to go.
Okay.
To make sure that you're doing that exactly correct.
Yep.
Okay, and they want to have the fence start at the side of the house and
I
then go
found-
back. So it would not be a front, it would not be considered a front, a fence in the front. And it might be that you need to set it back a foot or two, do you know what I mean? So that's not right at the edge of the house. But, you know, set it back maybe, because I'm thinking,
We
I
thought
looked at it
setting-
today and where it's located is fine by me if you're gonna permit a fence. I don't have a problem with the location of the fence.
okay, so,
Okay,
so
location of the
the,
fence
so
is
the
fine.
fence is 6 foot.
I have the window.
The
Where's here?
board that was
Yeah,
in the
let's see
window.
let's see what was there.
This is the original window?
That's the board.
Oh,
That's.
and you don't have an image of the window that was removed.
Madam Chair, while you're looking at that, if Mr. Baldwin is going to abstain, you're not going to have a quorum tonight.
Pardon?
So If Mr. Baldwin is going to abstain, you're not going to have a quorum to vote on anything tonight.
So, Mr. Baldwin, you have to vote.
Jeez,
You can, you,
thanks a
you
lot.
can, well, you can vote anywhere you-
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Ruben will forgive you
We
regardless.
have a quorum
we have a
for the
quorum
meeting.
here for a meeting.
Quorum for a meeting, but if you're going to propose to take any action, you need four votes to pass on
Okay,
it.
well, you get to vote. You
You
can
won't
vote,
like your mail. You're
you can
good.
vote nay, you can vote whatever, but you. This is the other part. You want to be on the Historic District Commission?
I actually was gonna ask
Yeah,
about
thinking
it, but
about it.
after tonight,
Absolutely
you
put
might
it-
not want me, so.
But no,
This is
Come
the
on.
mayor and she can nominate.
right, she can nominate you right now.
I mean, I am very detail oriented and insane.
No, I
so-
think, you know, because one of the problems is that we need to have more people on the committee.
I mean,
And-
I found, like, at 3 in the morning, I read like architectural salvage places and like ooh and ah over doors and things that used to be in these homes. Like, I really, if I had all, I would have like some ancient door from some other,
It's one of the
and-
reasons
and-
we bought the house.
right,
was
like I
because
would
this
have,
was her dream
if I
street.
didn't have so many kids. When my kids go to college, you're gonna see my house, like everything, all the wood's gonna have no paint on it and it's gonna be all pretty and sanded and.
and we will love having you do that.
You can just send your kids over to my house. I have a really big yard and a dog.
We have a dog,
Right.
but you guys still have to feed them, so then like I can't afford all the projects I have in my head.
But in the meantime, we need to figure out a way. So what I think maybe what we need to do is if you can go to the city, make sure that you're putting the fence in the right way. And then let's look at options for what we can do with that opening now that we know that it's there. And that we know that it actually was a window at one time that does that make sense? Can we go in that direction and look at some options?
I mean, it leaves them waiting, but I would like to know the size of the original opening.
Yeah, I
How
would
could we
too.
find
Is
that
there a
out?
way to-
Or even
Do you have a
estimate?
photograph of the front of your house from when you first moved in that,
No, it's
That's
something,
not-
we were gonna
this
talk
is
to
like a
Clark about
long
getting,
time
both,
ago.
and you said, Clark, there might be a photograph in the original
might.
historic district book?
Where do I
So we-
go to
But I
get
don't-
that
I
stuff?
can't
He has this is like analog days.
Right,
where
right.
Things were put into an album. He has an old album that has old pictures from when the district was first formed.
I mean,
that's-
if I had to take a wild guess, I mean, you guys had the picture of the Michigan side.
Mhm.
It's probably roughly about the same size as that stained glass window we have facing Michigan.
But,
Can you
No.
turn the Google Maps?
but it was
to
this way.
the Michigan direction?
Is it taller?
It was longer. It's about as wide as the window is currently looking at it, but it was longer.
So there might just very well be a way that we can make the whole thing work. But we need to,
Truck is that? Oh, that's Mr.
That's
Ford's
Mr.
truck.
Ford's truck. That's before we moved in. And then when she turns the corner, it's gonna be your mom's van.
Yeah, we're hoping Google Maps has an image.
He at my house later.
That's it right there.
Yeah, you can
Not-
kind of see it from that.
There's a bush there. That's all.
yeah,
Rats.
because I'm wondering if they did it. I'm wondering if
Oh,
they
wait.
did it when they, yeah, see, there it
Between the
is.
shutters.
But it was a longer window, wasn't it?
It's
Okay.
longer, like it,
Okay, so is
1,
it like the
2,
one with the
3.
pink?
The
4.
lower one with the pink shutters on each
Uh,
side.
Yep,
Yeah.
right smack dab in the middle.
I think it was like the window, it's the width, but it was like 4 shutters longer. If that make, like not shutters,
No.
strips of siding
Siding.
longer.
Taller?
Yes, this way. It
So
was
it was,
this wide, but like 1, 2.
So it's a big picture window.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yes.
But it might have been like the one that's upstairs. That's the two. So that's why
Was
It-
it a double window
it
or
was like,
single?
it could have been a double window.
Um,
But how old is that house?
I guess it's
18.
single.
18, I think
18,
1890.
1890. It's a
1896 or
it's a
something.
classical revival porch on a Queen Anne form. So 1890, 1900.
Because there's other houses in the neighborhood that have
It's
double.
brick foundation, 1895, somewhere in there.
So if there was a way to put see, the thing is that if you're putting a fence around, then you could put like a stoop out for the French doors. You could put a stoop and then put like a little tiny deck and then walk down onto it. You could.
Well, because that's kind of what we were gonna have Keegan build.
Yeah, once.
Once my cousin, we were gonna hire him to build steps that kind of, not really rounded, but like just they progressively go, because it's there's.
Yeah, I
It's a
know.
nice, it's a
It's
nice. structure.
it's
It's
at
high.
least 4 or 5
It's way too
steps.
high for
Yeah.
But, so I mean, I don't know what the dimensions need to be for that, but if we did that and then just put it on a patio, like, so it goes down to a patio and not a deck, like.
No, I don't know for sure, but I'm looking at those windows and so let's say they were 2 foot. Or two, what size is the sliding glass door now? Well, how wide is it?
1 second.
Is it 60 or is it
I think it's 80.
80?
Hold on,
72 probably, 2 3-foot
probably.
doors.
Um,
We have photos here. It looks like 2 3-foot doors probably.
So it'd be
Okay.
236,
40,
it'd be 72
maybe 80
inch.
inches. 72, 80.
To a certain 100%. Jesus, you got a lot of lows.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah,
I would like to look for original images of that window, because if your fence is going to block the view, the change is going to be nominal as long as the window that was there is comparable in size and
Okay.
decoration, right? I mean, I would not normally want to permit this kind of a change. If you had come to us in advance, I would have discouraged it. But seeing as you're gonna have to replace the siding and it's gonna look patchy, right? I'm not in favor of that either. It's just so happens this is a classical revival decoration on your building, so it's simple white trim, and you've chosen a sliding window with simple white trim. It fits. It's okay with me. I'm sure it's vinyl. I would not approve of that normally.
Not my favorite either.
Yeah, we could have forced you to get wood.
They
We
make
can,
them?
yeah.
material use,
Well-
we can ask for.
Oh, the
Do you
windows
have
should,
like a, sorry, tangent, but like a list of places that you can get like things like that?
They
Or-
have them, you just have to order them and they take forever to come in, but yeah.
I mean,
they're
I'm aware
available.
of some salvage places and different.
no, but you also can get,
But
you can
but
get.
here's my
sliding doors, so
suggestion.
it's been-
Here's, I would just want to finish my thought. If we can table this, we have another meeting scheduled for the 16th, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, yeah.
Which is just a couple weeks. If we can find images so we can compare, have a really good idea of what the fence is gonna look like. Because I would not have like stopped you from putting a fence there. Fence
So a
seems-
good idea is like we talk to the city and then.
I
or-
think Clark might have photographs of the original look of the building in the 1970s when the historic.
I mean, the
district-
fence,
The
like,
fence, you're gonna have to get a design and show it to the city, and you're
Okay.
gonna have to show it to us.
Okay.
So you have a couple weeks to take care of that.
And it can't be a hand drawing. It needs to be something that's like mapped out,
Digitized.
right? And Jeremiah and and Tony's not here, but they can help you, to make sure that you've got it. And making it, but it needs to be 6 feet. That's gonna be at least that front
Yep.
side.
Yep.
Because then that way that's gonna cover the majority
you
of
can
what we're
grow
looking at.
vines on.
I think they have to, I think they just have to meet city code for the fences and show us.
No, I know, but what I'm getting at is that in order for it to not be as visible from the street, this sliding glass.
I don't know,
door-
do you guys in the audience have a sense of whether it should be 6 feet or 3 feet at that location halfway back on the building?
I did walk, drove by the house where they're putting the fencing
Yeah.
can be 6 feet.
It can be 6 feet.
Yeah,
Okay,
it
so
meets
that's
our
your
code for
option
6
there.
feet.
Anywhere between 3 and 6 feet would be appropriate.
More than that, I think we were planning on doing the 6 foot if it was available, so
Well,
that would
especially-
block out a good portion.
Right, especially if you're looking for, backyard area on that.
Yes.
part.
For that and our dog, because if
Right.
you've walked the fence, you have noticed the nice
Yeah, the
makeshift
missing
spot he's
panels
made for
and-
his head, so we're hoping to avoid that.
Same thing on the Michigan
That
side.
dog is like not, I mean, he's not human, but he's also.
So
like-
I would like to move to table this
Immortal.
until our
I
meeting
think
on the
that-
16th.
And then how does that sound? And then you can go and you can look at the fence design and stuff. And maybe another option might be you can get the mullions that fit inside the windows to make it look like, in other words, to make it look like it's cut like this.
Okay.
So that from the street, we would see just the top portion of windows
And it
that
would
look
match.
like
those ones.
this.
We want it to match the rest of the house.
Right,
Okay.
right. So there's some options there.
Okay.
All right. So you're,
That's a
moving-
motion. We need a second.
okay, second?
Is that from you? That's
No. I second.
mine. Okay.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
right.
and that's good because the next time we're here, we'll have 5 members, so we'll have four of them.
Clark can abstain
Okay.
and save his friendship.
All right, so then
Good
that's where
name.
we're, but know that on the 16th,
What? Don't say, oh.
Same time.
you guy can't be here on the 16th, but we will have a quorum no matter what. Don't you worry about that.
You have your concert.
I have yeah, the kids are performing.
Well,
at
we
6
could choose
o'clock.
an
Then I'll
alternative
definitely
date.
not working.
We can choose an alternative date.
Could we,
meet.
okay, could we make could we do this on Wednesday, the 17th rather than Tuesday, the 16th? Because my kids got a recital on,
Your regular meeting?
that's our regular meeting. All right. All right.
You guys of the city is okay if we have a special meeting on the except your summer, August holidays and whatever.
Right. Are we good? Are we good on the 17th? All right, so I will call for a special meeting on Wednesday, August 17th.
So Wednesday,
To
August 17th, same time,
say, no, it'll be at 7 o'clock
PM?
PM
Okay.
here. And then we'll,
Does it have to be at 7 for a special meeting?
no, it doesn't have.
I'm
to
just
be 7.
thinking,
Would 5:30 be a better time?
The earlier the better for me too.
5 or 5:30?
I'm just thinking of these poor guys
I know, all right.
who want to enjoy their summer.
What,
I know you're being nice, but
What
would you
was-
prefer 5:30,
I'm fine with 5.
5?
5 o'clock?
Okay, so it'll be 5 o'clock on Wednesday, the 17th. Oh, do I need to have a vote for that?
No, I don't think.
Cool. Okay.
Robert's rules.
I need to read that book. Anyway,
Am I allowed to be on the historic committee before I'm done being a rebel?
pardon?
Talk to the mayor.
Right there.
Talk to the mayor.
So
I was just joking.
no, seriously, if you would like to join us, there is on a city website, there's an application that you can fill out. And then hopefully at the next city commission meeting, then we would get it in and then you can join us
You can sit right here.
and sit right there. And then we.
That's
add
good.
them.
We gotta get out of this spot.
Thank you
So-
for coming. I'm sorry. It's been traumatic for you. That's not our intention.
No, it was not our intention.
Our intention is to
Yeah.
preserve the character of the city.
So,
All right, so from now on, we'll do everything we're supposed to.
I'm not even cutting the yard. I'm just kidding.
That's Benny's anyways. All right.
Use
Yeah.
that band jam.
Keep mowing the lawn.
yeah,
Paint job looks nice, by the way. I think it looks really handsome.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The gardeners that. band.
All right, so, okay, so the second thing is old business.
Oh,
We
You
need
guys are off the hook.
that you, yes, so we're good.
See
We'll
you.
see you
on the
on the
17th.
on the
Thank you.
17th.
At
Thank
5.
you.
Thank you so very much. The window at 229 Dennis, is there any discussion on that? I mean, we really went to look, it is the same size as the other windows. It's just that it doesn't look the same because there's a bottom molding strip on the other windows and there is no bottom molding strip there with the new window.
I'm okay with it. I drove by it and I couldn't even tell initially which window it was. And then I looked a little bit more carefully and it was pretty obvious which one was new. But,
Yeah,
I'm happy.
What's the material?
well, I think I'm guessing that it's, because we told them that they could do aluminum clad wood. So it's either a wood
Is it
window.
Aluminum clad wood. Cause I don't know.
Do you guys know?
What was the question?
On the church opposite Clark's house,
I know they waited a long time for it.
they replaced a door and put in a window. Is the window aluminum clad wood?
Mhm.
That's what we asked them to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything we're gonna do before the 17th about it, if it's not, but it's an interesting question.
I think I can find out.
Like going and tapping on it.
No, but I can talk to Carol, Carol is
A member of the church.
not only a member of the church, she's the treasurer of the church. So I think Carol will know and I can ask her specifically. And then we'll find out.
Is it important to you, Clark?
Well, it would be because we distinctly instructed them it needed, what it needed to be in the motion. And I can't tell.
Well, I don't know what it is exactly, but I do know that I do know that Michigan Building Specialties ordered the window without their approval.
it was
And
fine.
then the church made them return the window. They refused to pay for it because it was not, they had told them specifically not to order anything until they had it approved. And so then they waited a long time for the new one to come in. So I am guessing that it did match the criteria. But the mullions aren't painted. They're gray. They're not white. And so it looks different. But that's the only two things that we noticed.
I think
So-
it's fine.
Yeah,
I
I'm
have no
just, if
problem.
somebody tells me it's wood clad, I'm
Okay,
happy.
I will ask
I
Carol.
just need, I think we need to
I will,
at least ask.
then I will ask Carol and she will find out for us. Okay.
Thank you.
And then there's one more thing quickly, and this is actually a question to the city. There are two houses on Dennis Street that are really getting out of hand. And then there's also the house on the corner of Michigan and State Street that they were referring to that are getting out of hand. The one next door to us on 403 Dennis Street, when the tree hit us, it also smashed their fence. And they have done nothing to the fence at all. It's all smashed. And they've done nothing. Is there anything we can do about that, or do we just let the smashed fence stay? I mean, it,
There should be something code enforcement to do about that.
okay, so then I will,
This is 319.
that's
No,
403
Okay.
Dennis. Because, you know, because it's, you know, I mean, from the outside, our house is completely repaired. And this is still a broken fence, and it's a broken metal fence. So it's, in my opinion, an attractive nuisance. You know, somebody could get hurt on it. And then 319 Dennis,
Overgrown.
she is allowed, she's allowed all those trees to grow so that you cannot see the front of the house anymore.
Education is something we code enforcement.
All right,
Really? Well, that's different.
Well, yeah, what if the whole neighborhood looked like that?
Well, yeah, I think I get that. A neighborhood association, if there were covenants on the land to enforce something like that, or, you know, conceivably your historic district, if it were, if your guidelines address that, to address something like that, but in general.
They didn't address vegetation.
Code enforcement department enforces the property maintenance code. The property maintenance code does talk about tall weeds and grass, but.
does not talk about,
Okay.
well, the bushes are no longer, they were never bushes and now they're trees. So she just had about 47 of them grow, and which every year we pull out about 47 maple trees. If you ever need one, call me. Or oak tree. I got a plethora of oak trees too, but anyway.
So according to the code we adopted from Ann Arbor, so this is page 418. Under not appropriate. It's planting new landscape where it will conceal the character defining feature of the building or the site.
Well,
And I mean, weeds have grown up in there and just obscured the view. I don't know that they planted them, but they also didn't.
well, they're not, the tree in the corner flowers every spring. And then those are all offshoots from the tree in the corner. I wouldn't call them weeds, but she did not plant them, but,
A weed is any plant growing where you don't want it to grow.
oh, okay, well, then it's a weed, but it's a tree.
I think that, you know, it's concealing the character defining features of the building or the site is right in here.
So then so now what?
I don't know that anybody's gonna get, is there a code violation that would force them to come to see us where we could ask them to take care of it, or?
Well, like I said, generally, we would not take any action on overgrown trees.
It's just an aesthetic, that's an
We do get
aesthetic.
that complaint sometimes, but there's nothing in the property maintenance. about that. There's, you know, my sense is that your guidelines, you know, like it suggests, apply to something new. that
A designed
someone
landscape.
proposing
Yeah.
to
Not
Oh,
to something that
wow.
hasn't been maintained.
Trees and shrubs that existed. Grow out, you know, without permit. Think we've never talked
I think
about
you got
that.
your answer, Betsy. We can't do anything.
Well, yeah, I know, yes, I kind of knew that, but we're asking just to check to make sure. And the backyard's but anyway, okay. All right, so then we have, so I will send to you, Jeremiah, a thing about 403 Dennis about the fence. And then we will meet again. Is there any public comment at this time? And are there any commissioner comments at this time? Aside from welcome, Maya, to your first meeting.
Yeah.
Thank you. Off to a rousing start.
Yes. So, yeah, so, then I guess the next, meeting date will be a special meeting on, Wednesday, August 17th at 5 p.m. to continue the conversation about 463 State.
If any new business comes to us before then, would we just cancel then the Tuesday meeting?
Yes,
I mean, theoretically, we could have a quorum. Right? It just would be, we'd have a special meeting as well. Are we canceling the Tuesday meeting?
I would say that this one is in lieu of the Tuesday.
Is that okay if we just cancel the Tuesday meeting?
That this one will take place of the Tuesday meeting.
Okay.
Okay, any other comments or anything from the commissioners?
No,
No? Then do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
so moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all righty, there you go.
Yeah, everybody on stage and all that. Plan just on. Well, for the purpose of being on time and on schedule, I'll call to order the August 2nd meeting of the ZBA. Are we expecting any other members tonight, or is this what we're expecting?
Cindy is not going to be here.
I know Cindy wasn't.
I haven't heard from Mr. Bird, but
Okay, but we do have enough for a quorum.
Yes.
The first item then on the agenda will be the approval of the minutes from our June meeting. There was a copy in your packet.
Move to approve the June minutes.
Okay, any discussion and no corrections? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, all right. Minutes are approved as written. We have two items of new business. One for 520 College Avenue and one for 132 North Main Street. Traditionally, we do not take action if we don't have someone here to represent them.
the first one for College Avenue, I was told their general manager would be here. someone from AMVET should be here from what I was told for the other.
Well, we can have a conversation with the mayor. He's here like. Always nice, yes, I guess he doesn't want to talk to us, so I. So I guess at this point, we just wait for a few minutes and see if we have some people show up. Anybody have any other idea,
No, that's what we've done before.
suggestion?
That's your custom. You can't take action on it. You don't have.
Well. Let's wait a few minutes here and then
We're here anyway, so we're all here and
some of you are here longer than the rest of us, but.
yeah, yep. I'm still not getting to the internet here.
So at this point, I think we'll just wait and chat among ourselves. I turn mine off. I may go with my ear. You get to see that.
I mean, I am.
Yeah, it's very interesting, but the lead is really good. If we start, if we take action on something, then we start to set it or.
Well, I think it depends on whether you need responses from the applicants, right? I mean, if you feel like the materials in front of you are sufficient to make a decision, then I think you should be free to make a decision.
My discussion on this would not have anything necessarily to do with the applicant. It would be, why are we hearing this? My own personal opinion is that this is an overreach.
Well, I mean, we can talk about it. I mean, there's nothing stopping us from talking about it. And we might as well. If there's some items to discuss, whether they're here or they're not, we can get going on that. And whether you feel
Well-
comfortable making a decision is another matter.
Well, along that line, because, Mike and I haven't talked to anything about this, but I was kind of having the same thought. Why is it necessary to have a temporary use for in a parking lot? Because they're intended for that purpose, right? They're taking required off-street parking, and this was part of the concern last year. They're using up required off-street parking for a purpose,
Personal.
that is in fact not only not allowing them to use the parking spaces for the purposes that they're designed, which is the bowling alley and the bar, but in fact generating a demand for additional parking on top of that, because presumably some people are coming there just to play cornhole. And so we have rules about, the parking that uses generate being provided off street, so as not to inconvenience the neighbors, with the exception of the downtown where we have public parking. And so this is an example that, I mean, every use that's a temporary use, is,
Well,
is going.
for the bowling alley, for the seasons. I'm not sure I get it for the AMVETs.
It's not even a parking lot that's used by anybody, is it? Or, I mean, maybe
Well-
a person running the store. I don't think any customers parking on that lot.
It's not the same situation in terms of parking, but it's a slippery slope situation, right? I mean, is cornhole, yeah, that's okay. Is the band okay then? Is the circus okay? Is, a flea market okay?
To be there.
Where do you draw the line on, this is an event that's going to generate a lot of traffic. It's been displaced from First Fridays for that reason, because they were frankly disruptive to that event. And fights ensued with people trying to get through the players and, so it's not just like, here's a few folks standing out in the parking lot playing
This is more of a reaction to bad behavior.
Well, I don't say that us treating it as a temporary use is a reaction to bad behavior. It's, we would view it as a temporary use for the first reason that I said, that, when you start using a space that was not designed for that purpose, for that different purpose, the zoning ordinance calls that a temporary use. Go to my point of, is it something that requires a little bit of thought? That is related to, what has transpired in the past through the activity, because it's a lot of people, they're drinking, and it's not just it's a tournament. It's not just a casual pastime like you and I would play the game in our backyard.
The other side of the slippery slope argument, though, is that, gee, for the last 4 or 5 days, there's been a tent set up on the corner of West Maumee and Greenlee.
In front of Rod Leon's.
Exactly.
Well, we've got enforcement going on that.
Okay, and we didn't ask for temporary use.
Well,
application
that would
there.
be potentially a solution for him if he were even in a legitimate location.
Right.
I think he might be in the right of way, but.
Yeah.
But no, we took enforcement
Okay,
action on that.
okay.
It's not like we ignored that.
Okay.
We ignored it for a while, but at a certain point,
Hope that, it's there for a couple hours and it'll go away and, yeah. Yeah. Well, Greg, I understand. I think there's potentially two sides to the argument, to the slippery slope argument that people would then get into over enforcing somebody putting up a.
yeah, I would agree if it were not an organized event,
Okay.
now that would not be
With-
something that
with
would rise to this
publicity and
level.
public
Right.
involvement and-
So,
Exactly.
Okay,
so I don't recall any of the First Friday stuff coming for temporary uses or for,
Yeah, that's different because it's on public property, right?
city streets.
The city
Thanks.
approves that as a right of way occupancy permit.
okay.
The zoning ordinance in general doesn't regulate public property, right? It regulates private property and the use of private property. And so now this has
You
been,
think it'd be the other way around. Oh,
Yeah.
now this has been displaced from the public place where it was to private property, and now it ends up in your purview. Like I said, it did take place last year on North Main Street, but it's not, for a variety of reasons, isn't welcome back. This
Lad, you
year.
have any thoughts on this? You look like you're in deep thought.
I have a lot of thoughts.
Yes.
First of all, I totally understand what Greg is saying about changing the use. But I don't feel like either case is going to harm the general public. It's not going to be a problem, and I like the idea of putting the people that are playing cornhole behind the M-Vets anyway, because they were creating an issue out on the streets. And it wasn't so much, it was just they were blocking traffic, so you couldn't get a police car or a fire
Yeah.
truck through there. So that was a problem. As far as the bowling alley, I feel it that's owned by good people. They'll run a good program. They have a big parking lot. And so I don't feel like they're going to bother the neighbors.
On the other hand, they're proposing to put up like fencing and stuff.
Yes.
I mean, it's more of a, and that's,
But
I
it's-
find that maybe even more of an issue than the other one.
But it's because they have alcohol though.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Well, that,
Even more so.
I don't say a problem with either one of these.
Sure.
I'm just trying, I'm kind of like, is it really,
What's the rationale?
yeah, And is it something, what things need this type of thing? And does this really need to have a temporary use or when it's on private property?
Well, by definition, a temporary use is on private property. That's the only ones we review are ones that are, like I said, zoning ordinance really only applies to private property, but with public property, we consider it
We could
through
do
a
it like
different
you-
route.
You do it like the
Through the power of
the administrator.
the-
yeah.
the majesty of government.
Yeah. Just to be clear. Yeah.
Well, it was just some thoughts were running through my head when I was reading through this was all, so. And evidently they were running through your head too. so.
Yeah.
Well, my opinion is based on what I'm reading on these two things, I don't see why we can't act on these. Does anybody else have an issue with this?
No.
Marley, I mean, yeah,
And how is that going to be above the diamond bang bang? Thing once a year.
yeah.
How many are we gonna do at a time?
But you know, the thing is, they're gonna be done by 9:30 or 10
9:30.
o'clock.
Right.
And
Yeah,
there's,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
so,
Well, I think there was, had some lighting out there or some type thing, so.
Well, and this, I mean, that was the question we had when they came to us. Here at planning,
No,
No, it was,
Here.
it was the same thing
Yeah.
last year.
that for their big music venue. and
Yeah,
parking.
good.
And said, no, that's gonna be too loud and too
Yeah.
close to houses. And we denied that.
Right.
But this seems like a much smaller.
Well, I mean,
Smaller
according to
particular-
what they're saying, they're talking
Right.
about just, music kind of a little in the background music and
Yeah,
stuff, so.
Exactly.
Right, right,
And then-
yeah,
Not sure what that-
yeah.
It'd be page 12.
Okay.
But, so if there's no objection, I say let's proceed with, the items,
Okay,
all right? Like I said, it's a little different standard procedure, but I don't see any reason why we can't for this particular situation. So the first one then is for 520 College Avenue. And the request is for a temporary use for the cornhole league and music. Requesting to operate the league on Mondays and Wednesdays from 6 to 9:30 until August 30th. Okay, the applicant will also request to have the area fenced in by a 6-foot chain link fence and music. Not sure what fence and music, but anyway. So that's what's being proposed. Is there any questions or discussions about what's being proposed before we go down through the criteria?
well, how long will this be for? How many years? Was it just for,
It's a one,
first year is just for one.
yeah,
okay,
Come
so,
back and ask for more later on,
okay, so if there's a problem this year,
then we can not do it again.
right, okay, so.
So actually, we're only talking about
oh,
3
wow.
days.
Yeah.
3 days worth.
mhm,
Well, no, they're doing it twice. a
Good.
week.
Twice a week, okay, but, okay, got it, yes.
Yeah.
do the,
With Adrian College freshmen,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's what I want.
most of them are not drinking age. but- That's.
all right,
Okay,
Legal, are not of legal
Yes,
drinking
no.
age.
legal, yeah. There's legal and there's practical.
Yes. Yes.
I'm just reading here. So the temporary use, I know we're doing for 1 year. I guess I was thinking in our other multi-years, we're dealing with the seasonal one, but that applies to all temporary uses?
Yes, but for the first year, you only get it for 1 year.
Yeah, I know that,
Okay, okay.
yeah. But I trying to think or recall anything we've done other than seasonal stuff like the fireworks and the fruit and vegetable stands for multi-years.
This will be seasonal too. I mean, this will not be going on.
Uh,
First of all,
summer.
it's got an end date in end of August.
Yeah.
And even if it had longer date, they're not gonna be doing this in the winter time. This is.
Maybe they're hardy.
Yeah, this is
cornhole
a seasonal. use.
people. Well, we're approaching it as a temporary use, right? For season, okay.
Yeah.
All right, going down to criteria. Number one, the temporary use permit is compatible with the various provisions of the chapter. The temporary use is compatible with the various of this chapter. A very precise answer to
That's a tautology.
Yeah, it is, therefore it is.
that.
That's not how we define.
Okay, excuse me, I'm sorry. The temporary use is reasonable use of land compatible with the general plan, land use designation and zoning classification. This is a temporary use in a recreational activity within a parking lot of an existing recreational facility. Number three, the temporary use will not impede the reasonable use of the land or the orderly development of the land in the immediate vicinity. This will not impede development or use. The land is evident by the applicant's plan and the open storefronts in that location.
That must be copied from something.
I gotta say, I'm not sure how that fits in there, but
Cut and paste.
anyway, it's not going to impede it. Okay. 4, the temporary use shall not adversely affect the adjacent use, buildings and other structures. We had an email from a resident that was concerned with the music being played. And we cite the ordinance on the music here. And so if there is a problem, this would apply, section 58-149, noise 8 there. And that letter we had was concerned about music after 10 o'clock. And this is scheduled to end at 9:30, so I don't see that as an issue. Number 5, temporary use will not endanger the public health, safety, or general welfare. Do not see how this is going to be a problem. So we'd find affirmative on that. Number 6, provisions for adequate traffic access, circulation, off-street parking, and pedestrian safety have been provided and will be maintained during the operation or use of the activity. They are blocking off the area with a fence, so that will help there. They have lots of other parking down there at this time, and there's also have parking available across the street, so I don't see that as being an issue. Number 7, that the granting of the temporary use permit is made subject to these conditions necessary to preserve the general welfare, not the individual welfare of any particular applicant. It says the board should discuss the noise and the volume, sure. I think that's pretty much addressed in the ordinance already. And the times are listed, so I think we should be good there. And at that point, do we have anybody online to speak to this?
Nope. Nope.
Okay. So, commissioners, questions? No questions?
No.
You
Okay.
know what? I think she might be from Poland.
Hello. Are you here for
Zoning
the
board or planning?
rec? We are just
finishing
discussing
up.
that right now.
We started at 6:30.
Okay,
Okay.
no problem. If you want to just step up for a second. And give us your name, please.
My name's Alex Walker. I'm the general manager for Lenawee Rec and Zizi's.
Okay. Have you received a copy of what the city recommended stuff? Okay, we
Yes.
just went through all these
Okay,
and basically we said yes to all of these.
perfect.
We have not had a motion or anything. The one issue we were just discussing was the sound and noise issue.
Okay,
And we had a letter from a neighbor concerned about noise after 10 o'clock. But in your petition, you said you're going to be end at 9:30.
correct.
Okay. So that should take care of that problem.
Yep.
And the music is evidently going to be just kind of a background music and we're
We
not
do,
having a dance party or.
no, it's a DJ, but he makes sure he keeps it at a decent volume. I even walked up last week to make sure that it wasn't disturbing.
Okay.
I kind of felt like I could hear the birds chirping more than I heard the
Okay.
music, so.
Commissioners, questions of the applicant? Okay, like I said, we've already gone through all this, so it's all on the record.
Okay.
At this point, I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairperson, I would move to approve the request for a temporary use cornhole league and music at 520 College Avenue and move adoption of the resolution that staff has provided.
I would support that.
We have a motion to approve the request. We have support. Do we have any discussion on the motion? Hearing no discussion, roll call vote, please.
Jacobitz,
Yes.
Strayer,
Yes.
Koleski.
Yeah.
Berthold,
Yes,
motion passed unanimously.
you're all set.
Perfect. Thank you.
Way to come in there at the last minute.
Okay.
Thank you guys so much.
Okay, next item on the agenda is for 130 North Main Street. Do we have someone to speak on that?
32.
Oh, what, 130 or 132?
Oh,
Do we have anybody to speak on that?
Yes, we do.
There's two separate. We're 122 North Main, but that might be the next.
Step right up and give us your name and give us a brief summary of what you want to do here.
I want to make sure that you're talking about me.
Yes, we are.
Ambets, right?
And
Ambets, yeah,
Yes,
we're
we are.
122 North Main, but I think our area that we want to hold.
One-
Oh, the property owners,
Cornhole
property
tournament
owners,
is next
130
door.
North Main, you're
Okay, very good.
132.
Okay, got it.
Just briefly, we were asked, and I guess we're moving from the street of holding our cornhole tournament from 6 PM to 9 PM. And we're just moving to that private property area to do the same thing that we've been doing out front for First Fridays for quite some time.
You said from what time to what time?
I can't remember exactly what our time
the-
frame is.
On the
It's-
request here, it says 3 to 10.
I think the setup time, but our actual time of play is 6 to 9:30. It has to be done by dark because, you know, you can't see to,
You know, when
you gotta,
flying
yeah. Can't,
cornhole
you gotta
bags,
see to
but you
play,
Can't see them, right?
right? So,
So the specific request is going to be from like 6 till 9:30.
correct.
Okay.
Okay. Commissioners, questions before we look through the staff review? Any questions of the applicant? Change that.
And this is the area on the back door of the steel carriage house.
Correct.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yep.
Where you like that? Then? Okay. We'll go down through, excuse me, through the staff review. Number one. Temporary use permit is compatible with the various provisions of this chapter. Temporary use for the compatible with the very chapter and that the open storefronts in that location should not have any problem. Number two, temporary use is a reasonable use of land compatible with the general plan, land use designation and zoning classification. The requested temporary use is a commercial B3 community business districts which allow for these events by way of temporary use permit, so would be acceptable in that district. Number three, the temporary use will not impede the reasonable use of the land or the orderly development of the land in the immediate vicinity. It will not impede the development. There's not any development there. It's just the use and it will not impede any use there. So fine, yes for number three. Number four, the temporary use shall not adversely affect the adjacent uses, buildings or other structures. This will be removed, so it's going to be just on a temporary basis. And like I said, we're looking at 6 to 9:30 on those first Fridays, so it's fine, yes for that.
Through October. Yes.
Yeah.
That's it.
Is it- I don't, that's fine, it's on the request,
Yeah,
yes, for
through
October, yeah,
Mhm.
okay. Number five, temporary use will not endanger the public health, safety or general welfare. Staff does not see anything endangering it. As long as you stay away from flying cornhole bags, you should not be in any danger. Number 6, provisions for adequate traffic access circulation. Off-street parking, pedestrian safety has been provided. There's plenty of parking and a lot of city lots down there. Do not see that as a problem. Plenty of parking for businesses. Fine for that. Number 7, that granting a temporary use permit is made subject to these conditions necessary to preserve the general welfare, not the individual welfare of any particular applicant. Once again, it should be in harmony with the events going on downtown. So nothing there. At that point, number 8, a recommendation. Staff recommends approval. Commissioners, up to you.
Did we receive any phone calls or written comments on this particular one? Jeremiah?
No, we did not, but we should ask in the
Yeah.
room of
Oh, yeah.
setting.
Yeah.
Is there anybody online to speak on this? Yes, no, nobody?
No.
Okay. If there are no other questions, entertain a motion.
I will entertain the motion that we go ahead and grant the petitioner use during first Fridays from 6 to 9:30 through October for a cornhole tournament at the property parking lot located at 132 North Main.
And that we adopt the resolution. And adopt the resolution provided by staff.
And adopt the resolution provided by staff. Thank you.
I would second that motion.
We have a motion with support. Are there any questions on the motion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Strayer,
Yes.
Gillespie,
Yes.
Jacobitz,
Yes,
Berthold,
Yes,
motion passed unanimously.
you're all set.
Thank you very much,
thank you.
everyone.
Is anything else to come before us or anything else to discuss tonight? Hearing none, seeing none, we'll close this meeting. Planning Commission will begin.
Well, they're working. Folks, we will call to order the regular meeting of the Adrian City Planning Commission for August 2nd, 2022. If we could have a roll call, please.
Yes. Jacobitz,
Here.
Weatherby, Johnson,
Present.
Taylor,
Present.
Cotton,
Here.
Roberts,
Here.
Watson and Love are not present.
Okay. First item on the agenda is consideration of our July 12th minutes. Commissioners, I presume you've had an opportunity to review those minutes. Are there any additions or corrections to the July minutes? If there are none, we would entertain a motion for their approval.
Approval is written.
Support.
Motion from Commissioner Taylor and support from Commissioner Cotton. All those in favor, please indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The July minutes are approved. Next item on our agenda, case 2225, a zoning exception permit for a marijuana growing facility at 1220 East Beecher Road. Staff has reported that there's a number of issues with this yet and has recommended that we table this. Unless there's some reason to not do so. We will, oh, Greg.
No reason not to do so, but these were both published as public hearings, so
Probably
should-
because we had to get it in
yeah,
and stuff.
so we
ready. So,
should just check to make sure nobody's here to speak on it, and then I would not close the public hearings because they're gonna change, but table.
well, we haven't opened them yet.
Right, well,
So,
I'm saying you're gonna have to open it, but
yes.
but don't close it.
Okay, so to be perfectly correct, then we will open the public hearing for 2225. And entertain a motion to table that particular matter for some time in the future.
Move to table.
Support.
Support from Chad, thank you. What? Is there any discussion? It's a motion to table. There's no discussion. All those in favor, please indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, kind of the same thing with 403 West Maumee Street, a zoning exception for a gas station with a drive-through at the site that used to be Bobian's or Cal's. We would open that public hearing. I do not believe there's anyone here to comment on it at this time. And because we're still waiting for a bunch of information on that, we would once again entertain a motion to table that particular item.
Move to table.
Krista, thank you.
Support.
Taylor, thank you. All those in favor of tabling that, please indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that is done. On to discussion, eliminating the warehouse district, which we talked about at our last meeting. Jeremiah, you want to jump us into this again? As folks, as you may recall, the issue was that based on our comprehensive plan in last month's discussion, we had asked staff to advise us on eliminating what has been the warehouse district, which will require us redefining those few things that are defined as permitted in the warehouse district and moving them to other zoning districts. Jeremiah, I'm sorry. I should have given you more notice. I'm sorry.
So yeah, I did look into that. And a number of you came in. I don't know if your laptops are working, hopefully.
You can look online. yes.
But hopefully you were able to look around and see where the I2 districts are, as we discussed. Looking through there, we had the issues in the warehouse district of the adult, as it calls it, natured establishments, being adult bookstores, motion pictures, massage parlors. Pawn shops are on there, cabaret, sauna, pinball and video arcade establishments. After doing some research on the zoning, it appears that all of this could be put into the I2 ordinance if we got rid of the warehousing district. And it also, within the memo, tells you what is required of these. They are required to be, shall not be located within 1,000 of feet of another such business. So that kind of keeps them separated. Nor should it be 300 feet from any residentially zoned district as measured from the line forming the shortest distance. So that would be the property line instead of facility to facility that we've done in the past on things. So looking at these, there are places that these could go. However, I don't really see them going in those, and those would be most likely the southeastern corner of the city in the I2 areas, towards Anderson, things of that.
In the industrial, this east side industrial.
Yes.
Yes, yeah, which was the intent.
Yes.
Question, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Jeremy and I talked about this, and maybe some of you did also, but the one thing that sticks out at me and doesn't seem to fit is the pinball or video game arcade. Maybe I'm missing something. That weren't we going to put an arcade in at one point on South Main Street in one of the
Yes,
centers?
we
there?
were. Yes, we were.
Yeah, I mean, it just doesn't seem to.
Yeah, this is going way back to.
When
you know,
that
these-
was. when
these
that was
used to be
Hoodlum-
called,
where Hoodlums hung out.
Right, exactly. These used to be called Skid Row ordinances.
Mhm.
And yeah, you pick those troublesome uses and you tried to isolate them and also keep them separated so that there weren't enough of them to create a critical mass or a skid row. Yeah, that I would say that one's evolved probably to the point.
That's Main Street.
not-
I mean,
no.
that's Main Street. now.
Yeah,
Yes.
where that maybe doesn't belong with
Yep,
the others.
yep.
And could be deleted from the list at this point. And it apparently is allowed in, or would that be B4? Because although we ultimately will probably get rid of B4 also, but you know, it belongs in commercial districts
Yes.
anymore.
Yeah.
It's not what it used to. be.
Well, and in most I mean, like in East Lansing and Ann Arbor, not so much anymore. It's too expensive. East Lansing always had one right downtown.
Pinball Pete's.
Pinball Pete's, but yeah, but that was too expensive for Ann Arbor, I think. The property rent's too high for pinball places. The Pinball Pete's is still there. At least it was last year.
it's still there.
It's in the basement though, so
Well, yeah, but
low rent.
yeah. Mary, I'm sorry. Oh, yes, because
Don brought it up.
game, yes, gamer Jeremy, yes. Okay. So that would move all of these other than, so where do we permit pinball or video game arcades in establishments then? B3, I would think. Or not downtown,
Well, B3 is downtown.
yeah, not-
So B2
B2, I would think.
would be the place.
Because we're, yeah, that was B2 that we considered a year ago or so.
Well, I think that was B4,
Oh.
which is the shopping center district. But
Okay.
like I say, I think we're ultimately going to merge B4 into B2
Yes.
also.
So,
So.
but so
probably
we
should go
need to move that to one or both of those then.
Correct.
Are there? There were other. Jeremiah, there were other uses though, other than these, that were warehouse uses.
Yep, and I can tell you what those are. Though those were things such as
Doggy daycare and
doggy daycare was one of
kennels,
them.
kennels.
Which that already is. Well, no, doggy daycare is not in warehouse, but that is in the I2 general.
Okay.
Jeremy, isn't it the case that every warehouse use other than these is also allowed in I1?
Okay.
For-
So that's
for
why
the
we didn't
most
have to
part.
enumerate them.
For the
Okay,
most part.
Okay, got it.
But yeah, it seems as though they could just be seamlessly moved into there without any issues.
Okay, Okay.
The other ones are heating and electric power generating plants, which I'm
it's gonna be
pretty
a
sure.
public utility, so it comes
Yeah.
under different rules.
Auto
Anyway.
engine body repair, that's an I2 use anyway.
Yep.
Metal plating is the same.
Mhm.
And then we get into junkyards, which is already inside of the I2 ordinance.
Yep.
With actually, I think, better restrictions than this one.
Mhm.
Pet care facilities, oh, that's-
No, you're in.
I'm looking at it too. Sorry, it didn't take me to the right page.
What? And I don't think you'll find anything in warehouse that's not in one of the industrial districts.
Except for these. Yep.
Except
Okay.
for these, correct.
I do have a question about number 6, and maybe there's a specific definition of tavern or cabaret. Because it says tavern or cabaret providing live or projected entertainment where intoxicating liquors may be sold. How is that different from a bar who has entertainment and sells alcohol?
There are definitions.
There's a definition of
for
tavern or cabaret.
these. Yes.
I think, I think,
Is this?
I presumed what it was implying was a strip club.
Me
But
too.
it doesn't say that. It says,
Doesn't say
it says
that, I know.
tavern or cabaret. And I said, if you want to take in the broad, there, we have certainly,
But live entertainment
Places
could be interpreted as somebody singing songs.
well, that's what it's getting
That
at.
was the
This could
point,
be, this
yes.
could be far,
Right,
you
yep.
know,
Yeah. Oh, God, no. Don't shut down barbers.
Mhm.
I don't know, maybe
No, but
there's
no,
a,
good point. yeah,
maybe
good
there's a
point.
definition of tavern that I'm not seeing, or I understand the cabaret part sort of, but
We may want to update these
Definition.
terms.
Yeah.
That we have more up to.
Because I'm sure that what they were referring to there was a strip club.
Right.
So we need to get a better definition of that. Good point.
Would that be part of our ultimate motion to the commission to move to I2, but also to update all the terms?
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, we'll
We'll
bring
do
text
whole
back for
comprehensive.
you,
Yep.
for a public hearing that you
Yeah.
can consider.
What else?
You say what else or what?
What else? What else? That. I think, let's see, we need to. Take what's here and move it and move the definition, move the permitted uses to I2. We need to redefine tavern or cabaret.
Yep.
We need to move pinball or video games to B2 and B4. As long as we still have B2 and B4, we might as well move into both. What else?
Well, another thing that I think we should discuss, since most of the warehousing areas are already set to be moved, are have a industrial future land use, except for that one spot on the corner where the doggy daycare is. So I would kind of like to see us take a closer look at the future land use map as well, while we're kind of on this subject.
Okay,
Because I feel through recent discussions, we've kind of figured out that it's not necessarily accurate.
give me a little bit more depth there. Krista,
Basically, like I said, the doggy daycare, its future land use is commercial, and I don't feel like that's appropriate. It's warehousing, and we need to figure that out before we
so we need to update
convert.
future land use plan to match what we're doing.
Yes,
what you're saying.
but I feel if we're doing that for this one property, we should probably take a closer look at some of the others that we've got on there, because it doesn't seem like it's been updated and reviewed recently. I mean, I know we did the comprehensive plan, but I don't think it got the attention that it should have.
Yeah, that particular area, if you recall, when we're looking at the overlay discussion, we saw a lot of commercial over in
Yes.
there that doesn't comport with. I mean, certainly it's not zoned that way now,
Right.
and probably is not likely to be rezoned that way. It wouldn't be appropriate for it to be rezoned that way. So
Right.
Jeremy and I talked today about
that.
you know, we don't really have we didn't get from the consultant file of the,
Property by
you know, a
property.
manipulatable file, shape file of the future land use plan, but he can import that into our GIS system and create a layer in GIS. And when we have that ready, then we can bring that in and we can work on that and
Update the future land use map.
future land use map.
Okay,
Correct.
okay. Thank you, Krista.
And that is something I can put in these maps that I showed you too.
Cool.
So when we go to do this, we can,
Put that right on
Yeah.
overlay or
Yep.
just call it up separately.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Do you have enough information to move forward then?
yes.
Okay. Commissioners, any other business or discussion? Any future or additional direction to staff on this topic? Okay. Let's see here. I think that's everything that was on our agenda. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to address the planning commission on any topic? Hi, Lynn. Nice to see you.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Okay. I would remind you that our next meeting would be Tuesday, September 13th, the second Tuesday of September, owing to the Labor Day holiday. If there's no other business to come before us this evening, I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
Move to support.
All those in favor, please indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you all.